Start again. Okay, we are back in open session, the Winona City Council. My computer cranked up here. I'm now moving on. We have 4 items in a row here, all related to the fire department MOUs, which are started for immediate action, and I think we're handling them that way because we'd like to get these changes made. The sooner we can get that approved, the sooner Jerry can go out and start trying to hire somebody. So, first one is item K, consideration of resolution 24-3-2687, approving a memorandum of understanding with firefighters local 311 to allow for lateral transfers put forth by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Is there a motion to take this out of order?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And is there a second?
Second.
Chief McMullen, are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a little short explanation of these, of the first resolution, the lateral transfer one?
Absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to attend this remotely. I had to come up to a conference tonight, so I appreciate it. The lateral transfer one, which is the first one I believe on the agenda, basically matches what PD has, but allows me the flexibility to offer a higher starting wage for any applicants that have applicable experience, like for like experience. Just because they have it doesn't mean it'll be offered, but it gives me the opportunity to be able to hopefully draw people away if they are applying at our department.
Any questions? Okay, hearing, do we have to
No.
roll call for this? Okay. Hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item L, consideration of resolution 24-3-2688, approving a memorandum of understanding with firefighters local 311 to allow for a flexible schedule for one full-time employee, also put forth by the Finance and Personnel Committee and start for immediate approval.
Motion to approve.
Whoa.
We gotta suspend the rules first.
Was there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there, well, there was a motion to take it out of order, I think, right? Or
That
it
was,
to approve?
yes, you just couldn't hear it.
Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Jerry, this is the flexible schedule one.
Yeah, this is put forth. We have this as part of the referendum, but I'm asking to be able to apply this earlier. It doesn't mean that I will, but it allows me the opportunity, depending on who the applicants are, and should we have further openings, the ability to put it out to see if any of our more senior folks want it, or to assign it to the newest hiree. The flexible scheduling to allow me to fill holes better, to be able to contain overtime should we have additional openings.
So this would give you better coverage on some days, is that the rationale for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item M, consideration of resolution 24-3-2689, approving a memorandum of understanding with firefighters local 311 to eliminate a residency requirement, also put forth by the Finance and Personnel Committee. Is there a motion to take this out of order?
Motion to take this out of order?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second.
Jerry?
With our first hiring process after our openings appeared, the vast majority, except for one, actually applied from areas outside of our current residency requirement.
Is that
And
50
speaking-
miles?
Yes, ma'am. In speaking with other chiefs, they've actually either not been enforcing it or removed it, just because Dane County is a very tight market for fire medics. Again, we're doing our best to open up our process to as many people as possible. Unfortunately, Dane County is a pretty expensive housing market, so within the 50-mile radius is difficult and limits the applicants that we could get.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And item N, consideration of Resolution 24-3-2690, approving a memorandum of understanding with firefighters Local 311 to allow for provisional hires, also put forth by the Finance and Personnel Committee and start for immediate approval.
Move to suspend the rules and take this out of order.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Chief?
First, I'm going to say thank you to the mayor and the council for allowing me the flexibility here. It's so the provisional hiring aspect allows us to consider applicants that may not meet our current minimum qualifications. And in return, should we choose to hire them and the PSC agrees with that, that they would start at a 10% reduction in wages until they meet their minimum qualifications. Again, the market for qualified fire medics is tight in Dane County. I just received a job posting from Mount Horeb looking for folks as of today. So I can't express my appreciation for the council and you, Mayor, for allowing me the flexibility for allowing people to meet certain criteria, if not the minimum qualifications to apply, to allow us to get as many applicants as possible.
And then, am I understanding correctly, the money that we wouldn't, because of the offering them a lower salary, the difference in the pay would be used to pay for them to go to Madison College or whatever?
Correct.
complete their
And the way that it's
requirements?
the way that it's scored, yeah, the way that it scores out, if applicants that meet the minimum qualifications that we currently have in place would score the highest. And then single role medics, folks that already have their paramedic license through the state, would score the next highest. And folks that are firefighter certified but don't have a paramedic license, but some kind of EMS license, would score the next highest. But it allows us to bring in as many applicants as possible to consider what would be best for the city and for the department.
Any questions?
I guess
Bill?
Chief, is there a provision, or if we're gonna pay for the certification, is there any, they need to stay employed with us with it for a year, or we recoup those costs, or, I mean, what if they don't graduate, or graduate but don't stay with us, that sort of thing?
Glad you asked that.
That's where the genesis of the 10% pay reduction came from. The overall cost for the lowest rubric score, which would be a firefighter with an EMT or AEMT certification, putting him through medic school, that cost is covered by the 10% pay reduction. The next highest, which would be if we put him through fire school, it's much cheaper and much faster. So we didn't look at necessarily a contract obligation for people to stay, as the reduction in pay covers the cost of the classes that we would put them through. If they do not complete the classes within a year to come up to the minimum qualifications, they'd be released from service.
Thank you.
But, so do we have a requirement that they have to stay for a certain amount of time after they complete the certification?
We do not.
Because they're getting paid less.
Yeah, but still, I guess that gives us somebody for a year, and then, Neil, did you have anything?
Yeah, I think it
But
just
there-
in terms of just competitiveness, I think, so I think I would say probably even up to 10 years, and Chief, correct me if I say anything line here, but I think even up to like 10 years ago, that absolutely would have been expected and required by almost anybody. The competitiveness at this point is such that I think if you put any sort of contingency or kind of, it actually makes that less attractive. So I think we're hopefully by getting them in, getting them in training, providing them that funding break to get them funded on there, they get used to working with our system, they get used to working with our staff, they already have a level of commitment here, and that's what's gonna end up.
I
actually
realize how
making them
much
want
fun
to
it
stay
really
here.
is.
Exactly, how much fun it is to work for Jerry, exactly. So I think that just right now, in terms of just the labor market, that's just kind of where we're at, I think, in terms of how competitive it is to try to get people. So I agree with the sentiment that it would be a logical thing to put forward, but I think it would kind of lessen the competitiveness of the offer.
And I know Patrick's hand is up, I just have one further question. I know we have a similar situation with the police department, although it's a little different, we're not paying them 90% of the salary, but do they have a requirement that they stay for a
I would
certain
have
amount of
to
time, do you
check
know? I
the
don't know.
Chief on that, Jerry, I don't know if they do.
I don't believe they do, no. I don't believe they have a requirement to stay past their qualification acquirement.
Because they don't even start working for us until,
Right,
so that may be different.
yeah, I can
We should check
verify
into
that,
that, I think.
absolutely.
Patrick?
I guess another way of looking at it too is that they're receiving less pay because they're not qualified, right? So adding a requirement that once they are qualified and we're putting that additional money towards the academy, that couldn't we consider they need to stay employed with us for a year after that? In order to, because we're paying less because they're less qualified. With the anticipation that they will become qualified,
And then we'll pay them more.
and then we'll pay them more, yes.
And it just kind of seems
I
like
don't-
we should be.
I don't disagree, Alder, which is where the 10% pay reduction actually came from, was giving us the ability to pay for the classes they need to become qualified. The idea behind this was giving folks an opportunity who may not have the opportunity to move into full-time positions because they don't meet the minimum qualifications. There's a lot of firefighter EMTs and firefighter AMTs that may want to move into a full-time position but don't have the means to get the medic license on their own.
Okay.
Where we would provide that for them, but in return, they take less pay to be able to cover the cost of that class.
Okay.
Neil?
I would suggest, kind of maybe implementing the chief's recommendation, and if we see that in a year or so that people are leaving in droves, it's not retaining folks, then we could always certainly institute that sort of requirement at that point. But I think for now, I think hopefully the extra investment and effort to make them competitive and able to work here in Monona by providing that additional training gives them the relationship that they want to continue to work here. I think is what we're hoping for.
Teresa?
I do see what Patrick's saying, though, because in essence, we're paying a full salary for a less qualified person when you add on the
That's
cost of their
true.
training. We're paying them less because they're less qualified.
Yep.
I mean, that's just right there, done. Okay, that's why you're getting paid
But we're still
less.
paying out that amount of money.
And we're paying more to get you, so it is costing us what we would pay for a qualified person.
Except we don't
Except they're not
have,
qualified.
and we're not having enough
Yep.
qualified
Yeah.
people.
Right,
Well,
that's-
I get that we're not
Right.
getting the applicants.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But these people they'd be coming with at least some training already that they
Sure.
could do part of the job now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Depending on what level they come in at.
Okay.
Correct. And again, to be clear, this particular portion of the provisional hire scores the lowest on the rubric.
Okay.
So because of the amount of time it takes to get a medic license, they would score the lowest on the initial rubric on their application to begin with. So the idea is if we see a really stellar candidate through the candidate process that we want to be able to invest in, we have the ability to do that. But the goal is to open it up to as many people as possible to see who's interested. Because right now, the fully qualified fire medics, we're just not getting the applicants.
Chief, quick question. Do you think that the tight labor market in this regard has something to do with that Supreme Court result holding EMTs liable? Do you think that's keeping people from applying to some degree?
That's a fair question. I don't think it has a bearing on our current market. I think it'll have a bearing on our future market.
Okay, I was just curious.
The current tightness in the market, I will go out on a limb and say it was COVID. We lost close to 1,500 medics in the state on the last renewal process back in 2023. They simply didn't renew their license. So we went down from 5,700 in the state to about 4,200. And fire medics are a much smaller portion of that. So I believe that the current tight market is due to A, there's a lot of people hiring, and B, COVID took a lot of people out of the market.
Gotcha.
Doug, did you have a question?
No.
Teresa?
Is there any, I would imagine I'm guessing this is a pretty low probability, but is there any legal issue the city could get ourselves into if a person who was mostly but not entirely qualified were to, I don't know, are we opening ourselves up to anything there?
I think that has to do with management, though, because I don't think chief's going to let them do things they're
Sure,
not qualified
okay.
to do.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all right.
So, and to address that, we currently have part-time staff that are not fully fire medics. We have a couple LTEs that are single role medics already, and we utilize them to be able to staff our primary ambulance.
Okay.
So they may not have fire certs, but we can utilize them on the ambulance as their licensed medics.
Makes sense.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank
Thank
you.
you, Jerry.
Thanks for your patience. I think we did pretty darn well here.
Yeah.
And I didn't even
So
screw up
far.
any of these
Not
resolutions.
done yet.
Wow.
You're such a pessimist.
Okay, moving on to reports of committees, commissions, et cetera, et cetera. Any updates or discussion on DEI efforts? Any updates on sustainability efforts? Now we will move on to committee reports. Alder DePula,
No report.
Alder Holmquist,
No report.
Alder Wood,
I think we covered all the park board stuff tonight, so no report.
Alder Rademacher,
No report?
and Alder Bernstein.
I just want to mention something. As a member of the Transit Committee and Public Safety, there was some tension between the two committees over the Metro bus issue and who actually had purview and who didn't. But when I look at the statutes or the ordinance, I don't see anything specifically as to how to define those things. So the one thing I did notice is the mayor is supposed to decide who has the referral for an issue or for a project. But what I'd like to see is that as a group, as the council as a group, kind of try to address that issue rather than holding any hard feelings about it. So I'm just putting that out there. So
Yeah,
that
I'd have to talk to you, I guess, Rick, I'm not sure what you mean, but I think the ordinance for public safety pretty specifically says what public safety is responsible for, right? It's not a matter of what they're not responsible.
Right.
Okay, I'm just saying that there's some different perspectives on this issue,
Yeah.
and rather than just have it talked about, just one-to-one, I think that the council might want to take a look at it and address it as a body.
I think what I'm saying, though, is I'd like to talk to you one-to-one to get a better understanding of what you're talking about first before we bring it to the council. Okay?
I'm not asking for any specific measure at this point, I'm just saying it's,
I'm just saying, I'm just saying I'd like to
Mhm.
understand what you're saying
Right.
more,
And
so.
then once it's fleshed out.
okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
yeah.
Any other committee updates? Do you have any committee updates, Rick, besides that, or?
No,
City clerk?
Yes, in-person voting starts tomorrow, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, goes till the 29th. There's also extra hours, 8 to noon on the 23rd for the April 2nd election.
City attorney?
We all survived the Ides of March. Other than that, I have no report.
Oh, that's good.
Chief McMullen, who is Caesar? Chief McMullen?
Well, I also survived the Ides of March. I just have two things. Just want to let everybody know we have a fresh volunteer cohort coming on board. We had interviews tonight during the finance and council meetings. Our membership committee was busy interviewing 5 folks, and we have 5 more next week. So we're bringing on 6 new volunteers as of the first week of May. And secondly, I want to restate what I sent via email earlier last week about the Oak Kit. We do have an Oak Kit from the county. It was delivered as of late last week. So we will be providing that overdose assistant kit. Still haven't determined the location yet. I'm working with Dane County to figure out the best location to keep it protected from weather, but also accessible to everybody 24/7. This is part of our initiative to help combat opiates in the community, along with the police department. We've issued them all naloxone to carry with the blessing of our medical director. And we'll also be working with Dane County to get Hope Kits on the ambulances and possibly in police cars as well. I'm still working with the police chief on that. And what a Hope Kit is something we can leave behind with family or friends for folks that are suffering from addiction. The biggest question that comes up, it's come up from my staff as well, is whether or not we're enabling people by providing these Hope Kits, which provide Narcan, fentanyl test strips, gloves, a breathing mask. What Dane County has found through studies is it doesn't increase overdoses, but it allows for more successful outcomes from overdoses by folks having the equipment that they need for their family or friends who may be suffering from this. So it's been almost a year-long process to try and get everything in place here to deal with the overdoses that we see in our community. I cannot thank our police department enough. They've done a fantastic job of not just bearing with us, but responding with us on calls like this. But the more that we can get out in the community, the better that we can help the folks that have addiction problems get to the proper resources. And that's what the Oak Kit and the Hope Kits are for, is to not only help them should they have an emergency, but connect them with the proper services to get them help. So really, like I say, been a lot of work to get this done, but we're close. I would say probably within the next month or so, we'll not only have the Oak Kit up and available, and we'll do a story through the city newsletter as well as some social media stuff. We'll also have the Hope Kits on our trucks as well to be able to hand out to community members that may need it for family and friends.
That's great, thank you. City Administrator, do you have anything?
No updates tonight, Mayor.
No? The only thing I have is for the audience out there. I guess it was a week ago, went to all of the forums.
Yeah.
For the alder candidates, the judge, and the school board, and they're all up on the Monona Community YouTube channel. So I would just encourage the public to watch those. If you're wondering about who to vote for, it gives you a lot of information, I think. So, other than that, we have one appointment tonight, Christina Jones to the library board, effective immediately. Is there a motion to approve that?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Right, get it.